You am or you ain't? What's wrong with this picture is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's Wrong with This Picture. I'm Courtney Wall, and of course, joined by. I'm getting all my words mixed up because you aim or you aren't.
Your words mixed up.
My words mixed up with your great little tease there. Dennis Guillaume. We're going to be talking about EyeEm, EyeEm. EyeEm, yes. And this is a photography app, and we've done a whole series on this. And of course, we will always refer back to the first episode we did, which, you know what, will probably not be real relevant in the next month or two. But what we did is we reviewed some of the most popular phones, their capabilities, and what they do. And even if those phones, the phones change, the facts are still there. So you can kind of get an idea about what's going on with pixels and all that good stuff. So get out your phones. If you have a Windows phone, an iOS or an Android phone, this app is available for you. We're going to be talking about EyeEm, so it's a free app. You can download it as we speak. And Dennis, this app came to my attention, and I had to give you a little backstory here because Instagram, which we're all very familiar with, originally was not available for any other phone except for the OS phones.
Right.
So this was an option for Android users, for Windows users, and of course iOS as well. So anyways, long story short, the Android people hopped on board, had fun with this. And then Instagram was available for Android. And then Instagram also sold out to Facebook. So then you had some angry people that didn't want to be on Instagram anymore. So if you're one of those and looking for another great photo app opportunity, EyeEm might be it. So it is, if you're familiar with Instagram, it's got a lot of similarities, but it's got some really interesting things as well. So I wanted to bring this to Dennis's attention. You know, we've talked about the filters and things like that. So you can take a picture right from your phone or import a picture, and then you've got all those filters. So maybe let's just recap a little bit about those filters and what we can add to a picture, and maybe sometimes you shouldn't add to the picture.
Well, it's a lot of this in the way of filter application is kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
It's just another thing that you can do to change the way your picture looks. Pictures don't always come out of the camera exactly the way you want them, and sometimes it'd be fun to be able to throw in a color cast of some sort to change the ambient color a little bit to of the light, to change the edge treatment, and even change the way the focus is blurred in some places and not in others. So there are a lot of filters available out there that do all those sorts of things, and we do it occasionally when we're in post-production of our camera equipment, having taken expensive equipment and taken good, what we think are good pictures, and then we play around in Photoshop or something like Photoshop and make them a little better. We fix the complexion of the subjects, and
which I've never had happen to me.
No,
never.
No need.
No need. Exactly.
But there are all kinds of things we do to these things. Well, in the case of phone pictures and the ability to do a few things, these apps really have a place, and they can be a lot of fun, and they can actually make your pictures look pretty slick. You know?
Exactly. And if you're taking pictures from your actual camera, your phone, we've talked about this before, depending on what phone you have, and most of them probably qualify under this. If you're taking a picture, it's more for social sharing, it's for emailing, it's for sharing on Facebook, and actually with EyeEm you can share to Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, or Tumblr, or Foursquare. So those are the social networks that you can share on, but to print them out, probably sometimes not your best bet. So don't take the photos you want to frame with these guys.
Well, you're probably going to have what we would refer to as compressed images. These are images that have been reduced in pixel count so that they come up readily on internet applications, so that they come up on your phone without having to wait a week for them for the picture to show up.
Right.
And in doing that, you compromise a bit in that format. You would compromise the ability to actually print a high detail picture.
Now I have printed a few photos from the apps that I use, and they've been pretty decent, but then again I have one of the phones that has the higher capabilities. So check your phone's capabilities before you decide to take all of your family's memories that you would like to print and frame on your phone, which I don't know if you really do that, but we're getting into it. People are starting, I mean, it's what you use. And so we've got these filters on here. I think there's like 14 on EyeEm, which is probably very similar to Instagram. It's a great alternative if you've boycotted Instagram. It's fun to use. But Dennis, this is my question. This is a photo sharing and discovery app is what they're saying. And I think a lot of, Instagram or whatever app it is, there's some ways to get discovered. And the way you do this on EyeEm is that you can put your photos in categories, or you can subscribe to a corner is what they call them. So if you want art, or I've subscribed to art pictures, relaxing, on the road, signs, birds, rows of things. There's tons of categories you can subscribe to. So things of interest that you can look at. And as you go through these, Dennis, it's a great way to get discovered where maybe we didn't always have that option. But B, you can tell that some of these photos were not taken with the phone. These are photos that maybe they've taken with their DSLR, they have edited in Photoshop, they've then uploaded to EyeEm.
Right, so you can upload from your computer as well as from your phone.
Exactly.
And that allows you to put up some things that are perhaps a bit more high quality than the stuff that you would get out of the phone. Although some of these phones are doing some pretty amazing things.
Absolutely. So if you are taking pictures with your DSLR or another camera, you can edit those and still upload them to EyeEm and kind of get discovered that way if you have some really interesting, neat pictures that you'd like to categorize. But you can also use different apps. There's tons of different apps out there to change focus, or maybe give it a filter that this specific program doesn't have, and then bring it in there and either give it a filter or not. So my question to you, Dennis, is before all of this technology and these apps and things like that, how did a photographer get noticed? I mean, how did your work get noticed before all of these platforms were introduced?
Well, there's lots of different ways to market yourself, and we had to use the more traditional methods. Suffice it to say that the social networks have brought to us a very effective way for a lot of people to see what you do and see the quality of your work. So before that, it was a matter of the usual kinds of word of mouth and portfolios that you carried around and that sort of thing, to go to places where you wanted to show people. There were the art shows and all the other things that caused you to be noticed. But in reality, the social networks make it a lot easier for a lot of people to find out about you.
It's a really good thing, but now everyone's a photographer, right?
Yep.
Everyone's a photographer, which is fun. It's fun to see everything, but you can definitely weed out the professionals right away sometimes when you're going through these corners, or people that really should be discovered on this discovery kind of app. Do you think that's really an advantage to use these if you are a starving artist?
Well, I think that anytime you can take your best work and put it in front of the public, of course, it's an advantage. It's also a great way for people to see a variety of different styles and different ideas in taking pictures. We all develop at one time or another a style of photography, and there are certain things we like to do and other things we don't. I have fairly recently discovered light painting, so I like to do a lot of that kind of thing, and it's not something that everybody does. And so, do I want people to see that work? Sure I do. And the social networks provide a good way of showing that to a lot of people. We're
very lucky to have all this stuff. So take advantage of it. And I'm kind of paralleling this with Instagram because it is very similar, but it does have differences. And if you're kind of confused about these corners that I was talking about, if you're an Instagram user, it's the same thing as a hashtag, basically. You can search for hashtags if you want to look at pictures of waterfalls or whatever it may be. You can do that on Instagram. On this, you just subscribe to a corner that showcases pictures within that category.
And I think it's important to understand too that these applications don't take the place of editing programs, editing software, because they don't have the capabilities. But there are certain features of the applications that make it very easy to make small changes and just dress things up a little bit.
Absolutely. So it's a lot of fun for those little vacation photos that you want to take on the fly, but also if you are using a professional grade camera and editing equipment, it's a great way to get discovered as well.
Sure.
So get on I encourage you to get it on as many platforms as you can, because it really can't hurt you at all.
Right.
Or can it?
Well,
do you think it could?
It depends how bad your stuff might be, I guess.
So if you're really bad, don't get on as many platforms as you should, but get on as many as you can if this is something that you are really passionate about. If you are into photography or want to learn more from others, this is a great place to just look.
Yeah.
I think I've learned a lot about photography and kind of how to, not that I haven't learned a lot from you, but when you're going through these pictures, I never thought of taking a picture that way, or made something really boring very interesting.
Well, we all learn, professional or amateur, we all learn from examples we see. If we see these things on social networks, I frequently, it's almost never that I look at a whole series of photos that somebody has done and not come away thinking, I think I can figure out how they did that, or what mistake they made that caused this neat effect, you know, whatever it happens to be. So you always get ideas from seeing other people's work.
Absolutely. So this is really fun. We hope that we have opened your eyes to another app that could increase your skill, or maybe get your creative juices flowing there. So check it out. It's EyeEm, EyeEm. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right.
I think you are.
We'll find out. We've got the link in the show notes to the website. Of course, like I said, it's available for iOS, for Android 2.2 and above. So that's, you want to note that, Windows phones and tablets. So download it right now. You can probably do it by the time I'm done rambling here. Of course, the show notes are on the website. So if you're watching this show from the Roku or Boxee, you need to go to rvnn.tv. There's a shows tab. What's Wrong with This Picture's at the very bottom, because it starts with a W, not because it's our least favorite. And you can click on that, and then all of that will be in the show notes that we talk about. So, of course, like I said, you can watch this show and all the other ones here at RVNN TV on our Roku and Boxee channels in the App Store. What's Wrong with This Picture has its very own board on our Pinterest account. You can give us a thumbs up on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and give us a circle on Google+. This wraps up this episode, so happy picture taking, I guess, is kind of how we sign off, right?
That's right.
Click, click. We'll see you next time.
Hey, Gabe, want to go for a walk? Gabe? Gabe? Gabe?
Hey, buddy, you lost? Hold on.
If your pet is the adventuresome type, be sure he's connected to PetHub. A quick scan using any smartphone shares your pet's vital information so that even his wildest escapades have a happy ending. PetHub, reuniting pets with their families.
Come on, Gabe, let's go home.